Hello all. I'm Gayatri. I've applied for the role of recruitment manager. Uh, this video is all about the strengths and the areas of development throughout the pre-work stage. Yeah. So to start off with, I received the pre-work of RM role on um, on Thursday, 16th Jan. So to answer the very first question, that is, how did I go about the pre-work? Like, what were the steps involved? What are the steps that I took while going through the pre-work? So initially, as soon as I received the pre-work, the first thing that I did was I read through each and every bit of detail. Um, I definitely feel that part is very important because you need to know what you have to do. I did not skip over any parts thinking, okay, I already might know this. I mean, there was nothing as such. I read through each and everything in detail. I took some time, and then I understood, I comprehended it. And then later, the first part of the pre-work was sourcing and execution. Having read the first bit of the sourcing and execution part, the main thing that is expected from the people who have applied for this role is to source a candidate from the potential list of candidates whom I might know. So in any case, I'm not able to do it given the time constraint and stuff. I am anytime it is anytime recommended to reach out to any of the operations lead. So anyhow, that being the thing, when I read through the first part of the sourcing and execution, I was I don't know if I would tell I was not scared. I mean, I was a little skeptical if my friends are gonna or if my pool of friends are gonna really agree to this or not. So that was the first part of how did I go about it, and after that. The next step was I did take like 2 days to scroll over the list of my friends, and then it is nothing like it's not some type of a job where everyone could be a right fit for it. So I definitely feel it's more of like you need to have certain qualities to be able to to execute properly as a leader or a teacher. So that being the reason, I had to filter out who of my friends would be a right fit, and who, I mean, during my previous tenure in Amazon, or probably outside Amazon, who were those list of friends who were able to execute these type of qualities. So that way I did make a list of it, and I also reached out to my friend sorry and I also reached out to my brother and my sisters, asking them if they have any particular recommendation. Again, when I spoke to them about recommendation, I did not tell them keep acha whoever is in need of a job, we are willing to recruit them. No, I did give them an overview about what Teach for India is, and what do we expect, and what do we really want from the candidates whomever you're going to recommend to me. So that way they also, it was really kind enough, even they were able to recommend 2 to 3 candidates for me. So anyhow, until Saturday evening, so I received the pre-work on Thursday, I guess, in the afternoon. Until Saturday evening, I did not hear back from my friends. So after that, I thought, okay, I guess this is not working out pretty much. Anyhow, just to be on the safer side, I reached out to operations lead. I reached out to Manogna and Abhijat, and I did ask them for some potential candidates whom they might know and whom I could source that way. So yes, but I did tell to them that, okay, in case if my list of candidates come back to me, I would definitely go ahead and I would definitely take it ahead with them. So that was the first part of it, like how did I go about the process. um, so next I will talk a little more in detail about this when I come to the struggles that I faced and how did I overcome them. So talking about the next part, what was the best part for me in the process? Okay, for me the best part for me, I'll talk on an overall context of Teach for India. So for me the best part about the process is the autonomy that you get being a fellow, or probably being a teacher, or probably being a recruiter. That autonomy that you get, I think that is the best part. There was nothing like I went in as a recruiter and I had to keep that attitude of a recruiter when I'm talking to a candidate. No, I believe Teach for India gives that freedom to break those bonds, and you're open enough to make a relationship, or probably you're open enough to communicate in a very strong manner, or if I have to tell it properly, you're open enough to have like a friendly communication. There is nothing like a professional communication that the system expects you to do, that the process expects you to do. So that way I really feel this was the best part for me about the process. So because that gave me a lot of freedom to be who I am, and not to go to be who I am, and not to portray a different managerial look about myself. So it was more like a normal conversation for me with the candidate, and even she was able to share most of her stuff, and even I was able to give out whatever I had to give out. So that way the autonomy which the organization provides is the best part for me, and the best part for me in the recruitment role as well. And again, talking about uh, what was the best part for me while I was interacting to the candidate. Um, so the best part for me was how I was able to um, um, change the mindset of the candidate from what are the thoughts that are holding back, and ultimately she was able to tell me that okay, I'm gonna apply for it. So I think that really stood out for me. Like it's I mean I what I definitely feel is all that the people who have potential, all that they need is a little bit of push and a little bit of confidence, and also how to channelize that energy. So yes, and also playing a little bit with the mindset of the people. So when I was able to convince the candidate until the end, so I really felt proud about myself. I felt that was also a best part for me. And additionally, so um, it's always told like some little things that you do whenever you meet someone, though they remember the conversation or not, probably some visual or artifact that you give them, it's definitely something that they would carry with them in the mind. So I did take some motivational leadership artifacts, like leadership artifacts for her, and then along with some keychain and some chocolates. So yes. um, so one thing that really stood out for me was when I really gave it to her. It was really surprising the way the candidate reacted to me. She was like, "Okay, this was never expected. We don't expect anything like this from the organizations." Okay, that way, like, and she also acknowledged the fact that the conversations that we have, or Teach for India has with the candidates, it's not something which is very normal. This every organization does not do it. So this is what makes me feel proud about the process. And also the planning and the artifact part, I would again give the credit to Teach for India, because through the course of 2 years, this is what I have learned. This is what Teach for India has shaped me to be, and this is how I have been able. This is how I would call this more as a transferable skill. This is the skill that I've acquired of giving, or this is the skill that I've acquired of motivating people with small little things. Yes, so this was again the best part for me. Okay. So talking about what were some things which I struggled with. So, like I already quoted in the first part, some things that I struggled with was um, pulling out the list of candidates whom I really felt were a good fit. Like I already told, this isn't just a normal type of job where anybody could come in and anybody could apply. So even if you apply and even if you make it, unless and until you don't exhibit such such leadership potential, I don't think anybody could take it ahead. So that way, identifying the list of candidates for me was a little difficult. Yes, I definitely had somebody whom I could reach out to in case I couldn't do it, but then it was more of a self test for me, even in case if I do not know if I would make it further in the role or not. But in case if I'm asked to do it, will I be able to do it or not? So that way, it was a self test for me, and I was really looking forward to do it, and I was really looking forward to pull somebody from my own friends list and not have a recommendation. Anyhow, but I did try my little bit initially. So when I reached out to my friends, not that I just told them that okay, hi, hello, we are recruiting people. Do you want to come and apply for it? So it was nothing like that. I mean, I did pick those people who really feel that. I mean, whom I have really seen that they have been able to deliver something to the society. I did make a bucket of that people. So once I made a bucket of that people, so what do I pitch them? I was very skeptical and I was more worried because the people whom I chose were working professionals. Why would anyone leave a handsome hunk salary and why would they join an NGO, or why would they work for the betterment of the society or for a cause? Yes, they do weekend volunteering, but why would anyone take it as a full-time role? So that way I was a little challenged during that time. So before I could reach out to my friends, the first thing that I did was I took a pen and paper and I sat down and I made a list of people, the potential list of questions that the candidates could ask me, or that my friends could ask me, even in case if I pitched them about the recruitment, if I pitch them about Teach for India. So there are like two buckets of people where my friends fall under. One is the undergrads who are about to complete their graduation next year, and one more is the working professional. So the set of questions varies for both the class of people. So first thing that I did was I made a list of questions, and I started collecting answers for all of it. So once I had all my answers ready, and that is when I went towards my friends, and I told them, hey, hi, I see you as one of the high potential candidates. Would you be able to, I mean, if you are unaware about Teach for India, I gave them the link to read about it. And again, I told them if they are interested, I definitely feel having a on-call conversation or a WhatsApp conversation doesn't really work out that much, because you do not understand where is the candidate coming from. You do not understand how the body language is. Once I told them, I gave them a slight idea about what Teach for India is, and I also attached the link of the website. And then I told them, in case if you're interested, we can get on a phone call first. So yes, thank God. I mean, there was this one candidate who got back to me, and she told, yes, I would be willing to talk to you. Once she agreed to talk to me, the first thing was I took it on a call first. So the on-call conversation went for around 10 minutes. It was just like a brief overview of how does what Teach for India is and why does she want to apply. So I also, one thing that I made sure while I was pitching it to my friends is my body language, or probably the way I choose my words. I wouldn't ask them, hey, please can you apply? I really need it. Please, we are looking forward. You're one of the best candidates. I mean, I never had this type of conversations with them, because I definitely feel any job for that matter, it has a value. Personally, I believe we have to raise the bar and set the company at higher standards. So that way, I did not leave out on that strategy. I was very diplomatic, and also I made sure that the fellowship needs you. I mean, I made sure that Teach for India does not need you, but then we need you as probably as a citizen who would work for the betterment of the country. So this was one of the important thing that I kept in mind when I was talking to my friends or talking to the candidates. So yes, this was one of the difficult part for me, where I had to identify the list of candidates who would make the cut as a fellow. And the second one was when I was interacting with the candidate. So yes, I did call her for a one-on-one conversation. Yes, she did agree for it. We had a conversation for around 1.5 an hour. Yes. No, I mean the most some questions that she posed to me. There are like these sensitive questions which needs to be handled with a lot of diplomacy. It should be such that neither you're letting down the candidate nor you're letting go away the process or the Teach for India fellowship thing. So yes, one more thing which I did before I could go and meet the candidate was, first important thing whenever somebody meets someone is you need to have a lot of data points. Like you cannot just go and bluff there. I mean, if for a slightest possible time, if the candidate feels that okay, she's bluffing something, and I feel in the fraction of second we just lost the candidate. So that way I had all my data points clear. I had done my research, and also I had bucketed my questions into various categories. What all do I have to ask? And so that it aligned to her needs as well, and it aligned. I did have a little bit of idea about what type of answers she might give me, because I had a conversation. I had a phone call with her. So that way I had my potential questions ready with me, and I had all my data points, and it was very well planned that way, and it was going the way I had planned. But again, there are some questions which needs to be treated with a lot of sensitivity. So I had this question where she asked me, so I get invested in people pretty quickly and way too much. So if I see some kids in the community not in a well-off condition, I might not be able to get over it very soon. What do you want me to do? So that's why I'm very scared to apply for the fellowship. So these are the things, like this might look like a normal question, but when thought about it in detail, so this actually I as a person, I'm not very emotional, but actually for a person who is extremely emotional, this can backfire them that way. So I did that was the time I told her, like, give me 2 minutes, I need to gather my thoughts about this. So yes, I did gather my thoughts. I did give her I did try to justify the answer. I did try to justify the question. I gave her a small answer telling, okay, this is the current reality of India. This is the current reality of education system. Like nobody can run away from the reality. One or the other day, anybody or everybody has to face it. So it's not about what you see. It's about how do you make it after you see it. What do you want to do after you see it? Like how do you want to solve the problem once you know this is what is happening. This is what is happening with the kids. This is what is happening at the grassroots level. Instead of getting it too much into your head and crying over it, I believe the solution should be more towards what can I do about it. So yes, I did give her many examples about how fellows have empowered the community, how they have empowered the kids throughout and they are still doing it throughout the fellowship and also post the fellowship. So these were some of the difficult things that I faced. So lastly, talking about what are if I had to recommend something to the recruiter team, if we could change something. Okay. So what happened is when I applied for the fellowship 2 years back, yes, I did make through the fellowship, and yes, I received emails after every round telling, okay, you have made it, congratulations, you're pushed to the next round. So I did have friends who did not make it through the fellowship. So I think from the individual point of view, I think it's always better to know the candidates where they stand, that way neither they are very over ambitious. I wouldn't say over ambitious. I would say neither they are too much about themselves, or nor they are like very low on self confidence. So I really think we as a organization, or probably from the individual point of view as well, we need to tell the candidates where they stand. I mean, I'm sorry, this is totally on my assumption. I don't know if the system is already in place since the last 2 years, but then this was when I applied for fellowship in 2018, and this was the thing that happened. Why? Because I had a couple of friends who were like, okay, my interview went really well, but I don't know why did I not make further. So that way, I really think the candidates whoever come in for applying, the candidates whoever apply and whoever go through the fellowship process, they do deserve a chance to know why haven't they made it. So I understand that we have various roles. One is recruiter, I mean, one is the recruiting team, one is the selection team, and one is the development team. But again, when I am sourcing a candidate, if I feel like she might not be a right fit at the same moment, I really think it is fair enough to tell them where they stand and how they could leverage that strengths into a different role. So even in case if we are not able to tell them how they could leverage it into a different role, probably I really think we should let the candidates know where they stand. So that way I feel we are giving them a fair and a transparent experience, and also that way we are giving them a fair and a transparent experience of the recruitment and the fellowship program. So yes, that was about it. And lastly, that one thing. Okay, lastly, that one thing I am inspired by is how the youth of today, like when I was an undergrad, I couldn't think of applying for the fellowship and pursuing my career in an NGO as soon as I graduated. But it's very much inspiring for me to know that how people these days come up and they exactly know what the root cause is and how to go about it. So one major highlight for me in the recruitment process is, we have many organizations, we have many companies where we tell them a lot about the job description, like where we tell them a lot about the job description. Okay, this is the job description, and so other things that we need you to have. But then this is one of the organizations where we identify them, or probably we start off with the vision and the mission of the organization. Even from the vision we break it down to what are the things that you are going to get and what are the things that you need to have. So that way we started off from the vision and the mission, and then there is no more like a JD or a job description. So that way I really feel proud about the organization, because that is what I have learned. Like when I was recruited into the fellowship, nobody really told me, okay, these are the skill sets that you need to have. So it all started off with what is the vision of the organization and what is the mission of the organization. So yes, that again the transferable skill comes into the picture, where I have been able to deliver the same to the candidate. So I really think this is again one of the highlights of the recruitment process. So yes, that was about it. So having done my pre-work for around a week, I definitely think my skills were put into best use, and I was also able to brainstorm a lot. I was also able to cut down my anxiety. Cut down my anxiety. Initially I missed out on the point of telling how did I prepare for the process. Before I could go on a phone call, or probably before I could go on a one-on-one conversation with the candidate, first I did a mock with my brother. There were many things that he told me that I could improve on, because having a face-to-face interview is much different. Having a face-to-face conversation is much different than a phone interview. So that way I did a lot of mocks, I did a lot of practice. So I definitely feel that practice makes man more perfect. Like as and when I practiced a lot, my confidence like boosted up. So that is also one of the add-ons for how did I go about the process initially. um, so I guess yeah, so I guess that is it. I have thoroughly enjoyed the pre-work stage. So I'm looking forward to learn more about the recruitment team, and also I mean, I have not got much of insights about the recruitment team. So far, how much ever I knew about the TFI culture, how much ever I knew about the leadership team, I have tried to deliver the same to the candidate when I happen to meet her. In any case, my information has gone wrong, or probably my information was slightly incorrect. I do apologize for it, but I am definitely looking forward to correct myself. Thank you so much.